am like 3 seconds away from asking the tooth fairy for a payday loan because I know she got it. But the economy is so bad, I gotta start looking.
Hello everyone, this is Emmanuel Cook. We will be reacting to a new video today, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
No, because I need to talk about it. I need to. There is just no way in this economy it is set for us to succeed. This is my thing. Why am I living in a 4-bedroom apartment, student apartments at that, paying almost $1,000? Actually, no, I am paying $1,000 a month for rent with utilities for a 4-bedroom student apartment. I might as well go get my own 1-bedroom apartment, you know what I'm saying, and have it to myself if I'm paying the same price I would pay for a regular apartment. All I know is J-Dot said that shit the best. I don't know which president is going to do it, but whichever one it is, lower that rent. It seems like my generation faces the backlash of everything. Why when we turn of age, we can't buy e-cigarettes no more? Why when it's time for us to graduate, why we ain't getting our graduation because of COVID? You know what I'm saying? Like, why all of a sudden when we become adults, now it's inflation. Now gas, it costs me my arm, my leg, and my kidney just for me to pay my rent every month. Every month.
The American dream ain't real, never was. It's a bedtime story they tell the poor so we don't wake up and burn the whole system down. Work hard, play by the rules, and you'll make it. Yeah? Then why are millions of us barely scraping by while billionaires hoard enough money to end poverty 100 times over? They tell us it's about effort, that if you're struggling, it's your fault. Not the rigged economy, not the landlords jacking up rent 150% since the 90s, not the fact that minimum wage hasn't kept up with inflation since the 60s, and not the fact that half of us don't have $500 for an emergency while CEOs make that in a second. Nah, it's you. You just didn't try hard enough. I say bullshit. They say go to college, but a degree don't mean nothing when you're drowning in debt you'll never pay off. Student loans in this country total $1.7 trillion. And who profits? The same banks that needed bailouts while we all lost our homes in '08. The same politicians that send their kids to Ivy League schools with no debt, no struggle, and no worries. It was never about giving us a future. It was about trapping us. They say, buy a house. With what? Wages ain't moved in decades. Rent so high, can't even save. The average home price is 5 times what it was in the 80s, and they want to tell us it's just inflation? No, it's greed. It's billionaires and banks buying up homes, turning neighborhoods into playgrounds for the rich, pushing working people into the dirt. They say just get a good job. Where? Factory jobs are all gone. Retail jobs can barely pay rent. Healthcare costs can wipe out your whole life savings overnight. They say the economy is booming. But for who? Because it ain't the single mom working 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. It ain't the guy breaking his back in a warehouse with no benefits. And it sure as hell ain't the millions working harder than ever just to stay broke. And then they tell us, well, at least you have freedom. Freedom to what? To die because we can't afford insulin? To work ourselves to death while billionaires ride rockets to space? To choose between rent and food? That ain't freedom. That's a death sentence. The truth is, the American dream is a leash, a scam, a fantasy to keep us obedient, to keep us blaming ourselves instead of the real enemy, the ones who rigged the game in the first place, and they will keep us chasing that lie until the day we die, unless we finally say enough. We don't need to work harder. We don't need to suffer more. We need to take back what's ours. We built this country. We keep it running, and we're the ones struggling? Nah, not anymore. The dream is dead. Time to build something real.
So I keep hearing about no by 2025, but this is where I live. So it isn't necessarily by choice. It's because I'm broke. So I don't know about everybody else. It's like, they're like, oh, I'm not going to do takeout anymore. Who's been doing takeout? I'm only going to have one subscription at a time. Well, if I did that, I'd flip them constantly. Or I'm not going to get my nails done. Haven't been done in forever. I'm not going to get my hair done. Yep, full of gray. My hair's not done. Not going to get my lashes done. Don't have any of those. I mean, I am so confused. I'm only going to go to the grocery twice a month. Well, I go to the grocery every week, but I just get what I can. So all these no buyers out there, that's awesome for you guys. But a lot of us, we don't have an option. We've been no buying. The economy sucks. So we've kind of already been in the whole no buying thing. So I've been no buying for, I don't even know. I'm just really good at being broke, I guess, because I've been broke for so long. I know how to do it.
Being an influencer is the new American dream. Like literally the Morning Consult, which is a market research company, did a study where they found that 57% of adults want to be an influencer. And it's not hard to figure out why. Like the old American dream, the traditional American dream is dead, done. It's not a good deal anymore and people know that. Like getting into college is not only extremely competitive, it's also obscenely expensive and people don't want to go into debt for like decades in order to just graduate and try to find a job in the current job market and spend 3 years trying to find something and eventually get lowballed with an offer that not only doesn't pay you enough to pay back your student loans and like live, but you can't set yourself up for like the future plans that you have. You can't afford a home, you can't afford a family. Like, what's the point? I get it. I get why people don't want to do that anymore. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad that we have this opportunity to escape the matrix. My concern with this is that the more disillusioned that people get with this sort of path of going to college and then getting like a 9-to-5 career in some sort of professional field, the less diverse these systems are going to become. It doesn't matter if you're a lawyer or a business executive or a social worker, like participating in these systems is what makes them for the people because you're the ones in like positions of influence that have the power to make decisions that really have an impact on like society and people's lives. And having people from all different backgrounds, like different socioeconomic status, political ideology, race is what democratizes these systems and makes them for the people. But when college is really expensive and the job market is super tough, like it's not a good deal anymore. And then college and like high status jobs then become only desirable and accessible to people from a very privileged class and a certain demographic. I know you know what I'm talking about. So therefore the systems that control us are only like inhabited and governed by the people that oppress us, and that's the problem.
American work culture really be like, hey, come work for me, but before you do so, go to school for 4 years, rack up like $100K in debt. Now you can work for me, but I'm never going to pay you enough to ever be able to buy your own house or afford like to own your own car. So you're always going to be basically slave laboring away just to rent a temporary spot on this planet and a temporary car to drive to get to the job that you need to pay off the debt that you needed to get the job. I just want to know where we went wrong and why that is the cycle and how to break free, because like that just does not sound great to me.
The reason that the UK is taking so many immigrants is not because they're trying to be good people or anything like that. And I can't believe that the bigoted people in the UK like still don't understand why the UK is bringing in so many immigrants. Literally has to do with the UK trying to like eliminate middle class. They literally just want to have rich people and poor people. They don't want to have a middle. And immigrants is exactly how they're going to do it, because they're going to bring in these people from third world countries that will accept very low salaries and work very long hours and will do the jobs that British people in the UK would never do. And because they're accepting these minuscule wages, they will be making the rich people so much money. Like, have you ever seen a rich British person ever complain about immigrants? They would never complain about it because they know at the end of the day it's going to benefit them.
The American dream as we know it is truly dead. Like today at work, we were all having a conversation and I kind of said this thing that blew my own mind. I'm like, I think my American dream now is if I have some food in the fridge and a roof over my head and the person I love next to me. That's all I need. That's all I can have. That's all I'll probably ever be able to have.
I'm on my daily walk today. And I know you don't want to hear it, but I want to talk about cutting the younger generations a little slack. Times are just a little different than when me and you grew up. This is what they see. House prices over the last 40 years are 7 times more expensive. College tuition over the last 40 years is 10 times more expensive. And this is all while the median income in the United States has only doubled. They see people they know graduating college with enormous debt, having to move back in with their parents because they can't afford rent or mortgages. This is what they see. The American dream, as our parents knew it and they tried to instill upon us, is dead. It's dead. There is no more American dream. Gen Z and Gen Alpha are out here just trying to survive.
So I just saw a clip of Elon Musk saying, the reason he's doing the Doge thing and cutting all these federal programs and federal workers is because otherwise America's going to go bankrupt. I can't believe that he's not thinking of another solution where he can pay more into society and then save America from going bankrupt. But yet he's saying that we need to basically cut programs that help the lower and middle class a lot more than freaking rich people. But no. He needs his money as much as he can. We need to cut programs that help the poor and make sure the more money goes to the rich. If you are one of these people that actually support all these billionaires, and if you're bootlickers for the billionaire class, please, I beg you, go out and buy every single thing that they're offering. Do not say no to anything because they need your money. They absolutely need your money, because otherwise how are they going to survive with all their billions of dollars? I don't know why you think you're entitled to that money, because they are, right? Because they need to use that money to create jobs. Otherwise you're going to be poor, right? You can't have jobs. There's going to be no jobs. Nobody's going to be able to survive because we will have all this money, but we can't do anything with it, right? My God, you people are freaking amazingly stupid. It just pisses me off. Like, stop licking their boots, okay? The solution is have the rich pay more money into society. It's not that, they don't have enough money. They have so much more money, man. Like, do you understand how much $1 billion is? Like, do the math and just put like $1 billion in front of you and then put like the average American salary in front of you, and you'll see the big difference between them. I know this is the longest video I've ever made, but this is pissing me off. That the solution that they're coming up with is we need to cut lower level programs so we can save the government more money, not the solution that we should have billionaires pay more into the system so there's more money so America doesn't go bankrupt. Oh my God.
So I asked ChatGPT, what are some signs that an economic system is about to fail and crash and burn? And this is what it told me. I'm doing this because you're going to see some parallels to what's happening to us right now. High inflation. I'm gonna just leave that one there because we all know shit is inflated as hell. High unemployment. Widening wealth inequality. I think we have like one of the worst, if not the worst, income disparity between rich and poor in the history of the world. Debt crisis, which includes excessive national debt. When governments or corporations can no longer service their debts, defaults become leading to economic breakdowns like in the Greek debt crisis. Banking instability, frequent bank failures, or lack of liquidity in the financial system as seen in the 2008 financial crisis. Stock market volatility. Unstable or crashing stock markets are often an early sign of economic trouble. Currency devaluation. A sharp decline in a country's currency value may indicate loss of faith in its economic management, leading to inflation, increased import costs, and capital flight. Credit tightening. When lending institutions begin to restrict access to credit, it can signal concerns about debt levels or ability to repay loans. Political instability. Economic crashes often follow periods of significant political uncertainty or dysfunction, where governments are unable to pass effective economic policies or reforms. Sounds a lot like what's going on today, so everybody better be prepared for what's coming next.
A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's continue the video.
Is this for real right now? Do people actually believe that the economy is going okay right now? Are you paying attention? Just in the tech sector alone, in the last 2 quarters of 2023, there were over 250,000 people that were let go. That's 50% higher than 2020. That's not including Wayfair and Macy's that just announced another layoff that just happened this week. All of these people that have been laid off have rent to pay, they have mortgages, they have bills, they have families to feed. And the job market, in case you haven't been paying attention, is not good. There are fewer positions open for people. Pay is less than what people were getting for doing the exact same job. As this video was implying, a lot of these positions where people have been comfortable and been working remotely are now being asked to come into the office, oftentimes relocating their entire families to new cities. And guess what? There are some people, and I don't mean some, there are several people on this app that I hope comment on this video that have been unemployed due to layoffs during end of 2022, early 2023 that have yet to find positions. And it's not because they aren't trying. It's not because they're not out there grinding every single day, networking and applying for positions. There's just not enough jobs out there available for the amount of people that are unemployed. And for the jobs report that comes out that says, the 2 million or whatever new jobs have been created, what they're not telling you is those are, in my opinion, those are people taking on second jobs. Those are people that are working full time in a job that they've been doing or have been doing and most likely getting paid less than they were in 2020 or previously. And they're now having to pick up second jobs, such as doing Uber or bartending or waitressing part-time or whatever it may be. These aren't net new jobs. These are people taking on second jobs. It's astounding to me that there are so many people that are just not paying attention to how poor this economy is. While inflation has gone down like by a tiny percentage, the cost of living has gone up so significantly. And if you just do a quick search on this app, or if you just do a quick search on really any social media app, you will see thousands and upon hundreds of thousands of people complaining about the cost of groceries and how they are just not affording life right now. So yes, our economy is poor right now. Wake up.
Those job reports are not accurate whatsoever. Where are the jobs at? I don't even see them. I don't see the jobs. Where are they at? They are skewed. They're really skewed because there are way too many unemployed people in this economy. Just too many. And it's just like, we don't see the proof, the results. People are still struggling to find work. So it has to be skewed. Or there's a lot of misinformation as well.
I really think the American dream is dead because once upon a time, like our parents or grandparents thought they could have the American dream by, working hard, which would equate to them being successful. And then they can buy this house with the white picket fence and easily have 2.5 kids. And it's like, in this day and age, that shit is not true. You can bust your butt, go to college, get this degree to A, not even find a job because this economy is terrible, or B, get a job that's trying to pay you $20 an hour with a college degree. And then to be able to afford a property nowadays, it's just wild, especially if you live in California like I do. Like, I know other states are a little easier, but for a majority of people, it is still very difficult to buy a house. So this BS American dream that we have been told, it's dead. Maybe it worked for our parents or grandparents, like maybe, but nowadays it doesn't work because sadly, the rich only get richer while the poor gets poorer.
Just run with me for a minute. You know how the economy is like a mess and it looks really scary and everyone's like, is it ever going to get any better? Like maybe it won't, and it's kind of freaking people out. Here's what I think is happening. I think there's like a grand usurping taking place. Like there's a second economy that is actively being built and is going to rise up to replace the old one as it collapses. Because, and I like the idea of like the workers seizing the means of production. Like I think that is happening, but it's happening in this like quiet way. It's not through like the seizing of the pre-existing structure. And I think people are starting to awaken to the fact that like trying to control that via like government regulation like isn't going to happen because those corporate interests are what run the government. So like unless we figure out how to usurp and take over the government, like that's not happening. But we have the power to just create amongst ourselves a different economy of trade. And I think that it's actively happening right now. I think a lot of people are stepping into an entrepreneurial space and like service-oriented businesses that are intended to fill gaps in the economy. And like I think we'll see the rise of collectively owned businesses. I think we'll see the rise of things that are like service oriented, or they're heart led in their mission. And the purpose is not to become like uber rich, but to actually like fulfill a need within our community, within our culture. And like I said, it's happening quietly, and I don't think we're going to see the full manifestation of it for a few more years. But the reason that I bring this up is because I think genuinely some of you are supposed to be a part of it and you're not realizing it, because we have been trained so deeply programmed into the existing system that the only way forward is to get a job at one of the big companies who do not care about you. They don't care about you. They don't care about your human life. They don't care about the human life of the people that they serve. They only care about the money. And it's a soul-sucking, exploitative system. And we've been taught that that's the only way forward. And that the only way forward is maybe quiet reform of that. But it's broken at its core because the only thing driving it is monetary gain. It's not It's not based in humanity. And I think more and more people are awakening to that. And it's like, it's cannibalizing itself. It is eating itself alive through budget cuts, through through the lack of quality products that they are creating, through the continued exploitation of their workers, and through the like rapid inflation of their prices and subsequently of their like corporate profit. It's eating itself, and it's becoming top heavy, and it's going to collapse. And so we need things that are going to replace those things. And so that's what people are actively building right now. And some of you, I think, have work that you are here to do, or that you are here to contribute, that is part of a market that you cannot even see yet. And so if you're feeling called towards things, whether that maybe be in like healthcare or in alternative healing modalities, or some of you who are being called into like entrepreneurial like spaces that you're like, I don't really know why I'm doing what I'm doing and it doesn't really make sense to me. That's because people are trailblazing right now. They're pioneering things that have not existed before. So you're not really going to know what you're doing. And like we are building something that has not existed in our lifetimes, right? We've never seen it before. And so I share this so that I want more people to like see this hopefully, because I think a lot of people are only looking at the collapse of what is and thinking that right now it's the end of the entire world, when I don't think that it is. I think we're actually on the precipice of a new renaissance. And I think it's the disillusionment with the old system that is what inspires people to that awakening. But there's a creative revolution that is happening. Wake up and join it. What is it that you want to create in this world? What is it that's missing that you wish was there? And like, what can your piece be in building that and in creating that? And also, it's not necessarily individualistic. You don't have to do it alone. You might be part of a team of people who are here to create that. Like, connect with people, organize. We have significantly more power than we realize, but we have to work together and in service of each other. And every single one of us has to play a part in that. Like, you don't get to passively wait for other people to build a new world. We all do it together because we're all a part of it together. So anyway, I don't really know why I wanted to share this today, but it's like, I see this really strongly, and it's the thing that gives me hope and confidence even amidst all of the chaos and all of the destruction that's happening right now. Is I'm like, I know that we are building a better world, and we just can't see it yet. What we see most strongly is the collapse of the old, but it's actively happening right now. And that's where I think we can pour our work, our energies, our efforts, is like, build something. Don't stare in despair at what is falling apart. Ask yourself, what can I do? What can I build? What can I be a part of generating? Because we need a new system to replace the old. So what's your piece in it? And you can find it. It's not necessarily like going to drop into your brain. You're going to kind of meander your way through it. But look at what you have the power to create with what you have right now. Look at what you feel passionate about and what you feel motivated towards, and take some active steps towards it. We're all in this together. I love you.
I'm thinking about like how to freeze rent, like particularly in my local context, but also just in people's local contexts in general. Let's just start with, if I stop paying rent, what happens? Well, what happens is that the cops come and force me to pay rent by threatening me with homelessness. My landlord sends an eviction notice to the courthouse or whatever, and then the police come and they kick me out of my home. So then, why does the landlord need to do that, right? There's different degrees. It depends on the situation of the particular landlord. They might have already paid off the building and they just want more money, or they might have a mortgage that they need to be paying to the bank with my rent for the building that they're landlording with. It's kind of an interesting situation, right? Because the bank is kind of landlording the landlords in a little bit of a way, because like, when you're paying off a mortgage, for most of the time that you're paying the mortgage, most of the mortgage payments that you pay are going towards the interest on the loan that you've gotten from the bank, not from like the actual amount that you borrowed from the bank. So like at the end of the day, and I mean, it depends on the particulars of the loan. And if you're like a rich landlord, then you can get really nice particulars on this loan. But depending on the situation, by the time that you've finished paying off a mortgage, most of the money that you've spent, well, maybe not most of it, will have been spent on the interest to the bank. And so like the amount of money that you'll spent by the time that you're done with a mortgage, it's a lot more than the amount that the construction workers for the building got paid, if you know what I mean. So like there's the construction workers who build the building, and then there's the developers who get their little cut. And then there's the bank that gets its little cut. And then there's the landlord that gets its little cut. And normally after all of that cutting and after all that capitalisting, the renter is the one who gets left holding the bag. So if, in an ideal world, the renters stop paying, then it's the landlords who are the next up on the chain who are left holding the bag. And I mean, it depends on your particular landlord. But I think a lot of these landlords don't have that kind of, like obviously the landlords that have the money to just not deal with that problem if they get left holding the bag, obviously they have to pay. But I feel like a lot of landlords probably don't. And so I think that maybe what we need to do is figure out some way that the landlords don't have to pay back the mortgages to the bank, and then the banks get holding the bag because obviously the banks have the money. But I mean, maybe at the end of the day, the banks don't even have the money, and then we get left with a fancy little financial crisis. But maybe a little financial crisis isn't even a big deal if I don't have to pay rent.
The American dream has become the American nightmare. I'm a millennial, and they told us if we went to college, we'd be able to get a good job and then live a decent life. Then they saddled us with a mortgage worth of student loan debt, ensuring that we'd never have an actual mortgage because we wouldn't be able to afford one. They taught us that the Pilgrims and Indians sat down to Thanksgiving dinner to settle differences, rather than teaching us about the systematic eradication and genocide of the native peoples of this land. They told us they abolished slavery but didn't teach us about the 13th Amendment, which basically makes slavery legal if a person is convicted of committing a crime. And then gave our tax dollars to private corporations to build massive prisons, which we disproportionately filled up with Black, Hispanic, and mentally disabled people, and then used those prisoners for slave labor for those private corporations. They started a war on terror, which was just an Islamophobic way of saying they were going to give all our tax dollars to private contractors to go bomb innocent people overseas and steal all their natural resources. They gaslit half the population into believing climate change isn't real and then did nothing to stop it. In fact, our warmongering politicians only sold us down the river again and again in the name of corporate greed and for shareholder profits. They poison our air, our food, our water, and then deny us healthcare. They expect us to work until we die, and when we're too old or sick or defeated to work, they let us die in the streets because they made housing unaffordable and then criminalized homelessness. They told us the immigrants were to blame, ignoring the fact that the vast majority of us come from immigrants or enslaved people or indentured people to this land. They crammed God down our throats while acting like fucking heathens, and then cursed us when we revolted. They created divisions of race, sexuality, religion, gender, everything they could think of to divide us, all in the name of maximizing profit, of corporate greed, of shareholder interests. They created culture wars to distract us from class war, to keep us from recognizing who the real enemies are. But the illusion is crumbling. Workers are rising up. You can keep telling us it's the fault of our neighbors, the neighbors who don't look like us or love like us or worship like us. But when you keep denying us the basic needs of life, when we're toiling away together in your factories and your cubicles and your billion-dollar industries, only to never see the fruits of that labor, to have our most precious non-renewable resource, time, stolen from us just to survive. Eventually, the rumblings of our bellies will drown out the music of your circus.
I feel like American propaganda is crazy because they have convinced us and the whole world that we are like super privileged to the point that I feel like I sound stupid if I say things are bad here. If I cry because like there's a woman today that was asking me if she could sleep in my house because she is homeless now and has nowhere to sleep. And I don't know what to do. I'm scared to say yes because, people are constantly scamming people here now. The things are just so bad here. People are on drugs. I don't know what she, may or may not do to me and my family, but she's a woman. I don't want her sleeping outside on the street. There are so many homeless people here. It's crazy. Everyone knows that now. I was trying to have this fun day in the city or whatever where I, try to enjoy the one day of the week I get to myself to have a life like any of us. And I just kept getting so emotional and wanting to cry because there were so many homeless people that it kept bumming me out. I just kept I couldn't stop thinking about it. I'm this is crazy. Right? We live in the richest country in the world and there are this many homeless people. And then the ones that aren't homeless, we are literally all struggling so hard. None of us feel financially secure. We live in financial terror. The average American lives in financial terror just every single day. Like, you put your head to go to sleep at night and you're just stressed. Like, what wakes me up in the morning is this feeling in the pit of my stomach, just stress. Like, me just waking up at like 5 a.m. because I'm so stressed already. And I think that's how it is for a lot of us. But then you have like these super rich Americans, right, that have so much money and they're like flying to space and like literally posting videos of themselves. Like, Paris Hilton posted a video of herself and it's just like from head to toe, like human beings on her, like getting her ready. And like, I don't know, it just kind of grosses me out now to see. And like, I'm sorry, like I'm becoming hateful toward rich people. Like, I'm talking rich. I'm talking like the ruling class. And they're so rich because we're so poor. Like, it's math. They can't be that rich without this many of us being this poor. It's literally math. And so I don't know what to do. Like, everyone I talk to, seriously, everyone I talk to, from the lower class to the upper middle class, we're all working class. Like, we are all just slaving our lives away for them. So, by the way, what are we going to do? Like, something's got to fucking give.
Do not let that lady into your house. There are crazy people out here these days on all sorts of things, drugs, and do not allow a stranger into your home. You don't know this person. You don't know the history of this person. Don't do it. It is a terrible, cold world out here. When you try to help people, they try to take advantage of you. They see your kindness for weakness. Be very careful out here. Be wise. I'm telling you, you will probably regret that choice.
All in favor of coming together as a collective and not paying rent next month, say aye. And we all need to do it. I need everybody. Spread the message. Tell your neighbors we are not paying rent for the month of March. If 80% of Americans do not pay their rent next month, what can they do? Let's all come together, spread the word. It's February 16th. We got 2 weeks to tell everybody that we know we're not paying rent next month.
I'm going to share 3 jobs that I think will survive this economy. Anything that has to do with taking care of people, such as working in a nursing home. And I think that's because a lot of the boomer generation or the older generation are just getting to a point where they can't take care of themselves and they need that assistance. Now, I know nursing home jobs are not sexy, but they are secure. And in this economy, we want secure, not necessarily sexy. The second job that I think is going to do really well is nursing. I think everyone needs a nurse. Whether you are a hospital, a med spa, or even someone selling Ozempic or something, you need a nurse to explain the dosage, to even do injections, and just to be there for people, because oftentimes doctors are not available and accessible all the time, and nurses really are the ones that really work with the patient continuously and kind of know more about what's going on with the patient too, if that makes sense. Props to the nurses. Y'all are killing it. Third job is going to shock you guys, but I think security, like a lot of these buildings, apartment buildings, luxury high rises, and even these gated communities, they need security people to just enforce the rules and also to check whether this person belongs in this community or not. So I feel like these 3 jobs are just always going to have a need in this economy and are going to survive and carry on for a long time.
Some people seem joyous or excited about the U.S. economic collapse, but they shouldn't be. It's going to hurt low-income people. It's going to hurt people in the middle class, all sorts of people. It's going to hurt many, many small business owners. Anybody who's got significant debt is going to be really hurt by it. Children, individuals who have participation in the economy, but they're not out earning, will be really harmed by it. And everybody who has a loss of opportunity as a result of it. And this will go on for decades. I mean, it'll never be the same, right? So don't be excited about the economic decline that has been started by Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and the Republican Party. Don't be excited about it. Be cautious about it. And if anything, prepare yourself. If you're a senior citizen on a fixed income, these are going to be difficult years. And so I discourage people being enthusiastic or taking joy in it. That's for sure.
You guys, when you're broke, nothing is funny in life. Why are you laughing and you can't even afford gas? That's how I feel. Why? There's nothing to laugh about in life, and that's why someone said Omuntu Mwavo Kolima, because literally nothing is funny.
When I be seeing women that are very pregnant and they be at work, I think that's the most sinister shit ever. That man do not love you. He does not love you, and I don't know why you can't see that, child. There is no love there. No love there. And then people be like that's normal. It's nothing normal about that whatsoever, literally, at all. I don't know why y'all try to normalize that.
Everybody please stop talking about the economy all the time. Holy shit, shut the fuck up. I can't. It's really bumming me out. And I just don't care anymore, to be honest with you. I don't give a shit. Can we talk about something else? Dear God, I know that we're in a recession. I'm living in it. Yeah, so actually I don't need Professor Fuckface to give me an entire PowerPoint presentation reminding me of that fact. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's just depressing. I know it's important to stay informed and all that shit, but if I become any more informed, I'm gonna become an alcoholic. All right? Is that what you want? I know times are tough. You're making them worse. Do you see how you're doing that? It's crazy. During these trying times, the world's so hard already, and you decide to be more irritating. That's insane.
I want to know when we're going to admit that there's not enough jobs for everybody. Amazon workers are on strike, which is amazing. Like, I absolutely support them, what they're doing. Starbucks workers are on strike. Starbucks is closing stores. They're cutting their hours. We remember 2 months ago, the longshoremen strike, which didn't last very long because their demands were definitely met. As someone who's kind of sort of laid off from working in like the film production industry, because there's just not as many jobs. Shows are just not being made. We all know that AI is taking over. Like reality shows, for example, would have 20 crew members. They've now streamlined down to 7. You know, they can get the show shot with 7 people where they just overwork and underpay those people. You would think because they have less crew members that they would pay you more, but no, that's not the case at all. Now, there's definitely industries that need more people. Like obviously we need more tradesmen. We always need more doctors. We always need more nurses and stuff like that. But the everyday person trying to get a job, the everyday American trying to get a decent paying job, feels like it's a thing of the past. I know that I myself have put out literally hundreds and hundreds of applications, maybe 500, 600 applications across Indeed, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, you know, going to companies directly sending cold call emails and stuff, and not being able to find anything, or the things that I did find were paying like some crazy amount to ask of a 34-year-old grown woman with, you know, 15 years of work experience, you know, $13 an hour, $14, $15 an hour to an adult with bills. And we see people on here all the time complaining about them applying and not being able to find a job. It's like completely brutal out here. I don't even apply anymore because it's literally just a waste of time for me to apply to these jobs constantly that I'm not going to get. Or that when you apply to the job and you look at how many other people applied, 300, 400 other people apply for the same job. I don't know, man. I feel like all this shit is about to collapse. Like, obviously people are not being able to afford their bills, rent, and stuff like that. So it's like, where do people go? What do people do? Like, I feel like this strike, for example, at Amazon is just gonna piss them off. Like, it's just gonna make them lean into more AI and figure out how they can streamline this process. Like, even the longshoremen, we need them, but one of the things that they were fighting against was that the importing places, I'm gonna butcher how I say this, but the importing places were trying to implement machinery and mechanics. And the longshoremen were, you know, saying like, do not put in machines to unload the ports because these people, you know, they need jobs. And I just feel like at this point we're fighting the inevitable. Like, from what I read, they said that America is one of the only places in the world, no, not one of the only, but most places like in China, Asia and stuff, they have like automated imports where, you know, humans don't have to work as hard. And I don't see a problem with that. But what I see a problem with is there's no alternative. I feel like at the front of this, the UBI conversation needs to be at the forefront. And for those who don't know, whatever, UBI is Universal Basic Income. And that sounds crazy, but it's like, at this point, what are people supposed to do? The jobs are laying people off. We all know that tech is laying people off. Like, so many stuff is getting automated. Like, the technology is like crazy. Like last night I just watched like a 2-minute short film completely done with AI. Don't get me wrong, it was not a cinematic masterpiece of any kind. It wasn't like a story masterpiece, but it looked really, really fucking good. Now, for me, I'm actually very excited about it as a filmmaker. I could talk about that in another video. It's happening. Like, these people, these companies, they don't want to deal with humans. They don't want to deal with strikes and lunch breaks and meal penalties and paying fair wages. They don't want to deal with none of that. As we have seen, for them, it's unstoppable growth. Every quarter, every year, they're going to push it further, 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 further. How can we streamline? How can we make more money? How can we get money to the shareholders? Which, as I've been asking for the past year or so, who are these shareholders? Who are they? We've been talking about who actually are these CEOs? We should have been known who these people were. I want to know, who are the shareholders? Who are they? I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, what is the next step when people cannot find a job and people continue to get laid off and stuff costs money? Daily you got to eat. Daily you got to put gas in the car. Daily you have to buy soap, you know, or incidentals or something. So what's the alternative? What are they going to do? What are we going to do?
So I stopped applying to jobs about 6 months ago or so, and I have a job now, right? But I still get rejection emails 6 months later. So it took you guys 6 months just to respond to one job application. 6 months. Ridiculous. Come on now. I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.